Okay, wonderful. So I'm super excited for this book. As you know, we've been busy with it for quite a while. So tell me a little bit about why did you decide that this was a book that you wanted to be a part of?
Well, first of all, I must say I always allow myself to be guided by spirit. So spirit brought this to my awareness. And I had a conversation with you that day, Amira, when you invited me on board for this project, that I was doing an interview and I was speaking about the book that I still hadn't written. And I was like, why am I speaking of this? I need to get going. And as soon as I hang up the phone, you were there. You were in my inbox and invited me to do this. And I knew it. That's it. That's it. That's when I'm starting to share the extraordinary experiences that I've had with higher beings, but especially then my Pleiadian star team. So they have becoming online more and more the last couple of years, I would say. After 2020, they started really making themselves present in my life by showing up with me, connecting with them through my channelings and so forth. Because I have been channeling Zarios in the Order of Seven, which is celestial beings, for quite a while. I think it's now 16 years full time almost. So I've kind of grown into that co-creation with spirit and always being guided. I've had so many experiences. So when you were gifting me that opportunity to share my voice and be a channel for that message that the Pleiadian Star team has brought forward the last couple of years, it was a divine timing. It is now. All the messages that I'm receiving is all about this time that we are fully in at this very moment. It's a pivotal time for humanity. And so many of us, so many star seeds or light workers or visionaries, whatever you want to label them, is waking up to the multidimensional nature of being human. And so it allows us now, through this book, to come together in a co creation process with other wonderful souls writing in this book, which I believe is essential. This is the new earth, how we're coming together to co create in support of the new earth, of humanity, of all life. And not only that, we as star seeds, and the way I'm being contacted, and a lot of others channels as well, we are calling in that service. They are calling on us. Our souls are calling on us to use our service now in order to fully embody that multidimensional soul aspects that are being lit as the consciousness is rising. So, as soon as we're choosing to go inside and activate our unique frequencies, and to be of service, whether it's through our soul mission or whether it's through our families or friends or communities, whatever that looks like, we are being called upon. And there is a unique frequency in motion at this time, supported by the cosmic forces, that is lighting us up. So you can see that there are more light codes coming in, more people suddenly expressing light language, which I was so lucky, I would say, to be able to do through this process. I think it was the second or third day of writing my chapter that I spontaneously started to speak light language. I have channeled it before in certain um, lines, but now it was just flowing, and it was such a powerful activation. And so I know that you contacted me. This book, it's more than just a transmission in its essence, but it's a gateway for many people who's reading that book that will resonate. It's part of them opening up for open contact because it's not for everyone. As I've been taught by my team, it's all about vibration and frequency. And this book, the people who will resonate and read this and really feel drawn to the information, it's a connection in the quantum field, allowing us to tap in to that unified field, preparing us, and then lighting up our path. It's illuminating our path moving forward, both as a collective but as co-creators. So this was a perfect opportunity for me, and I'm really grateful, Ameera, that I was able to share my guidance, the information, and everything that has happened to me in this book, because I've always been a skeptical in my own nature, even though I've always had that contact from day one, and I remember it from my mother's womb. But it's still a completely different way of living as a human, and then having that soul aspect lit up, and then trying to navigate the humanness of who we are, right? Through our soul aspects, and not losing our grounding, not separating us from what we're doing here on earth, but rather coming together to say, okay, we are awakened. We are no longer sleepwalking. We know the truth, and we know how to do this. We know how to navigate these lower vibration, because many of us are here now that have experienced cosmic wars, for instance, right? So we are we have keys, illuminated keys within us, that each and every one of us has been called to open up. And I think this book is part of that key
Oh,
in order
yeah.
to help people connect inwards, if that makes
Yes.
sense.
Oh, yeah. That is so wonderful. And I'm so glad that you said that. Everything you said, I absolutely resonate with it. And I'm so happy to have you part of this project. And my idea when I was thinking about like what this vision of this book would be, and I was trying to like get the guidance for it, because like all the books come from a place of guidance. It's not just like ideas I just pull out of a hat. It's like I go into QHHT and I pull the ideas out. Sometimes they come, sometimes they don't. It's a very long, tedious process to get it to be exactly what it needs to be. And when I was going through this process, and this is why Laura is actually writing the forward, is because I thought about her when we were doing the Beings book. And the Beings book was a very pivotal moment for me because before then, I never really, had an interest or dealt with anything extraterrestrial, extra dimensional, consciously. Maybe obviously I had other things going on that I wasn't aware of, but consciously I never had to deal with that. And it was a huge learning curve for me because it was a negative experience that really propelled me to learning about this topic fully and diving deep and understanding and seeing what the fear is and what it isn't, and understanding how to navigate all of that. And Laura was one of the first people who, through a guided experience with her, I could see and experience and feel my three extra dimensional, extraterrestrial guides, the three guides. That was the first time I ever met them and saw them and had an experience with them. And she was guiding me through the process, and they felt so familiar, like they've been there the whole time, but I was just not aware. And now, since then, I've always, I can, I know, I can feel now, I'm more aware of it now. But before then, I had no clue. And she had to help me navigate like a really negative situation that was happening with me that I had to learn very important lessons from, which I did. I mean, obviously I did because I had to learn and grow from that experience so that the book could actually come out and there could be things happening, because my growth happens within the book projects, and so does all the authors. They go through experiences too, like you were explaining with the light language that was part of your experience with this writing. And I was just thinking, from the reader's perspective, we don't know what this is going to activate in them. We don't know as they read what will happen for them, what will be their guidance, where they will be, kind of like interested in learning more about, or just interested in reading more about, or following someone who maybe has something to teach them or guide them towards. We don't know the ripple effects it will have. And I keep getting this vision again, and I spoke to you the last time about it, that it's not about now. It's an unfolding that's happening and will continue to happen for many, many, many years, where newer babies that are being born will use this information to help future generations do what they need to do. And they will bring in more information that we perhaps are not ready for or haven't gotten yet or are not able to process or interpret yet in a way that is relevant. And so it's all working together. This is one piece of the puzzle, but there'll be many pieces that will join and form a big picture that as humanity we can look back and say, wow, without this I wouldn't have known that, without this I wouldn't have been able to experience that. And it might seem like a scary process because when people hear extra dimensionals and extraterrestrials or whatever, we have these Hollywood images of weird things happening, but it isn't that way. And like everything that is new, you need to discover for yourself. I can say something, you can say something, but you won't know unless you experience for yourself. And then you can decide, oh, yeah, it is the Hollywood image, and they did probe me and they did steal my brains. Or no, they didn't. And this was my experience, you know? So having
Mm.
it for yourself and knowing it for yourself, then you can move forward from a place of empowerment and not so much a place of, oh, this is what I believe because so and so said so, or because I saw it in a movie, you know? So it's
I
about
so agree.
empowerment. It's about giving people the information that they need so that they can feel like they are not being dragged along in the process, but they are part of it, part of the evolution. It's an exciting place to be, I think.
It is. It is. I so agree with you, and I
Yeah.
appreciate everything that you just shared right now. And I could say, from my own point of view, working and doing this full time as a spiritual coach, channeler, and podcast host, I call myself a New Earth strategist because all these labels confuse sometimes, and I really don't feel that I fit into all of the labels. And so people get hung up on labels very often. Oh, I'm a light worker, or I'm a channeler, or I'm this, or I'm that. And I used to get, interviews and I was asked all the time, so what would you call yourself? And I was like, I don't know, I'm just me. What do you want from me? I'm just me. It's like, what are you looking for? I mean, so I just felt like, okay, so why is this happening? I'm just here trying to be authentic and embracing my authenticity through the multidimensional layers to me that I'm awakening to throughout my life journey. I've had to work on my shadow side of self as well, of course, because we are in the 3D world where duality is what we are here to experience. It was a choice. So we're learning now to navigate in order to create, to rise, and to be the masters or creators of the new earth in unity with Mother Gaia. She's already doing her part, she's rising up. Now it's our part to rise and to reawaken to who we truly are so that we can embody more of those higher frequencies, so that love, harmony, balance, unity can be expressed and uphold or upheld in this new earth, because that's what we're creating. The structures are building as we speak, they are in place. What we are doing through this book and through awakening and through people discovering their own soul aspects and maybe opening up for their star brothers and sisters is that we are tuning in to how we, through our soul gifts, through our starseed origin, we have knowledge, wisdom, power that will help and create a new foundation for the new earth. So that's what we're doing. The structures are building, but we have to build a new foundation as a species, the new human, and to anchor down those new vibrations. And to be able to do that, we have to take the journey within. We have to reawaken and remember who we are, truly, and to embrace, in order for that power that we have been taught to give away to external forces, to understand that we are waking up from that illusion and reclaiming what is authentically ours, and that we're starting to trust and accept more of who we are. And that will allow us to speak with authenticity, with power, with the words. We become channels for higher frequency energy by the words we choose to express, right? And so it's essential that when we come together and do this, that the more voices anchored within divine guidance, the more resonance it will have, the more hearts it will touch. And I had this interesting experience. I just want to share it with you, Ameera, because I have some mentorship clients. I take on 6 clients every year. And we just had one of our final meetings. And it dawned on me that I was looking through my list and I was looking at them and I go, whoa, we are a cosmic alliance. Everyone was from a different star origin. We had Pleiadian, one Pleiadian. We had Andromeda. We had Orion. We had Sirius. We had Arcturian. Nobody was from the same star. It was like, this is truly unity in motion. We are here working on finding the balance in this new harmonious way in order to create new foundation in support of each other, not through competition or fear or what we've been taught. No, through the heart, through hope, through holding the light, sharing space, allowing space, and not trying to point fingers or anything. It's just a beautiful way of coming together. And I think this book shows that. It really shows that we can all come together here on this earth and we can share our cosmic heritage and our own stories and how we are working on embodying it as humans, because that's essential, at least for me. Like I said with the labels, I was like, I'm just me. I'm just trying to embody all of me. I don't care what you want to call me. I just want to be me. Can I just try to be me?
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
And I love that. And, being open to that evolution process, because there are going to be bumps in the road. Evolution is not something that is just smooth sailing. You are going to feel growing pains, and that's okay. And I love how you said coming together, because it reminds me of like, now as humans, if you forget all the seed stuff, and as humans, if we can just look at, you are a human and I'm a human, and we are both doing our best that we can. And if we can put aside those differences of just the humanness, then we can easily move into, oh, there are differences on a star seed level too. And those are okay. Because if we cannot accept each other based on race and gender and ethnicity or whatever it is, how are we going to accept the differences when it comes to our cosmic origins and those things? Because those things are so infinite and they can be so different. You can deal with a mantis being one day and a Pleiadian the next. It's completely different energies, and even completely different in how they look and how they operate and how they feel, and what that energy can make you feel. Because sometimes we as humans, we're so quick to project. If I'm feeling fear, I'll project it. Oh, I'm feeling fear because you said this, or you did that, or you made me feel. It's going to be the same if we are not ready internally, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. We are going to project those same fears. Oh, I feel fear because you look this way, or because you are a mantis being, or whatever it may be. When those are just projections from the human side, where we haven't dealt with our own fears and our own limiting beliefs, or whatever it may be. And now is the time to deal with that, now that we have time to deal with that. Because when you're going to be face to face with someone who is different than you, and it's going to bring out fear in you, we should be using this time for practice. If you are triggered by somebody with blonde hair, I'm just using you as an example. if
Go
you are
ahead. I'm used to
triggered
it.
if you are triggered by that, use it as a place of practice. Let me practice being more compassionate, more understanding. Tell me more, let me understand it, so that when the bigger differences come out, when we're dealing with star seeds and open contact and things like that, it's not so difficult for us to feel compassion and love and understanding for beings that are not the same or don't look like us, or don't feel like us, you know? And that whole process of evolution, that is what it is about, moving from the fear to the love, or moving from the
Yeah.
fear to the acceptance. And wherever you are along that journey, it's fine. If you are, in fear, that's fine, but accept it and know it so that you know why you react the way you do, or why you feel the way you do, so you can, if you are willing, if so that you can evolve through it and become more. That's what it's all about. It's about the expansion.
Yes, and I hope that this book will bring that to some people. It will give you some clarity, it will give you some hope, it will be an anchor in a transformative time. And knowing that all the information being brought forward is anchored within the intelligence of love. It is heart based. So, yes, everything that we speak of, it resonates from the heart vibration. It's all about dimension of unity. And so that I think is the foundation again for the book. And one of the reasons also that I said yes to it, because we have to co-create it. There's no one single individual human that can uphold that energy that is the creation of the new earth. It's a unity consciousness. It is us together. So we have to learn how to honor the individual as you're speaking in ourselves, like accept the fear, and then be aware of it, and then look, where is the light trying to come in? That's where the hope comes in, the frequency of hope, which the Pleiadian, my Pleiadian star team, works a lot in support of this awakening. Because in every dark moment, if you lose all hope and you shed and you say, okay, I'm done, because that's, I was there in this lifetime where I had just had my second child. I felt bad, horrible, because I know the energy work that is needed, and I didn't want to be around my children because I was affecting them with my energies. And I had lower vibrational energies come forward, ghost like, also in the house, and they would be affected by it because they would tell me. And so it was a difficult time where I thought, well, it's better for me just to leave. I'm done. But that's the thing, when I surrendered the control, that's when the hope was activated and the light, the spark within was reactivated. It, I saw it. It's been dormant, but I had to let go of the control. And we've been so trained to be in fear, flight and flee, to be in fear of things that we don't understand. That's not like us, right? And so as soon as I knew I couldn't go to the doctor and tell them that my house was infected with ghosts and I was projecting that, or, it was affecting my children. It's like, no, how can I deal with this when I don't have energy myself? And so I had that moment. And I think a lot of people will recognize where they feel like all hope is gone. But that's my lesson. That's when I reawakened to the spark, and everything that came from that spark, the frequency of hope, it lit my path like one step at a time. It wasn't like I didn't have it in my frame of reference to start thinking about what I was going to do in my work or whatever. I was just trying to get out of bed, like to go. Yeah. So, whatever that looks like for humans in their own shadow work, it's the control part when we understand that there is nothing that we can control. And if we can get comfortable enough with that, I can live without having control of what's going to happen tomorrow, whatever, how open contact will look for me. If I can just release that and trust and follow that light, that spark, that little vibration that gives me the energy to move, to be in motion, to move my energy so I'm not stuck or blocked or whatever the body is holding on to, that you can move that energy. You will see very quickly in these times, a shift, a transformative shift, because the collective energy is so strong now of people doing their shadow work which through the unity consciousness is helping you. So that's why I say everyone who's having a hard time, who's stepped out of it, share your story, because the unity consciousness of that, it is so strong. So the next one has an easier time to rise and to move through it. And it goes quicker. And the perfect thing is that the lower vibration, the lower realms, because yes, they're there, they will not be as prominent at all because it's where you focus your energy. So, knowing this, knowing that you have that power, that control, let me use that word now, to choose what you focus on. That's the only thing. You can choose to focus on the good things, the positive things, the light in the tunnel, the small things, the things you appreciate, everything that is of a high frequency. If you do that, just start doing that. We are shifting and transforming, and we are doing it in a rapid way. So I think
Yeah.
it's a very beautiful time to be alive and to go through this together, because you're never alone, even though it does can feel like that.
Yes.
You are not,
Yeah. And that
divinely
feeling,
guided.
sorry to cut you off. I was just to say, and that feeling of surrender, it's one of the highest vibrational things you can do. It feels like you're giving up control, but you're not, because the surrender aspect of it is you knowing that everything is perfect as it is, and it's going to work out perfectly as it is. And I had to deal with some of that internal work earlier last week, actually, because I was comparing certain experiences to previous experiences I've had, previous experiences of other people. I was comparing them, and I just realized I was getting tense. I was getting, feeling anxious. And I was like, what is this? It's because every experience is so unique in itself. You cannot compare it even to the same experience you've had before, you know? So it's like everything is so unique in its own way that you need to allow it to be that way, because when you are trying to put a circle in a square, hole, you just going, it's like that old kid's toy, when you're trying to jam a
Mm-hmm.
circle in, it's not
Yeah.
going to work.
No, it's
Allow it to be a circle. That's what it is.
mm,
And it's perfect the way it is. There's so many different things that you can experience if you just allow yourself to be open to it, to be perfect in itself without you trying to change it or shape it or be something that you are comfortable with. Or, oh, I've seen it like this before, so I want it to be that way because I know how to deal with it. And understanding that change and transformation is happening. No matter what you say, no matter what you do,
yes.
you can hide away, you can run away, but you cannot escape the fact that it is in motion and it is speeding up and it is going to continue to happen. You can either, get on your boat and go down the water slide with it, or you can just resist the entire time and get dragged along and feel out of control. But either way, like you said, we are not
Either way,
alone.
it's a ride.
It's a
So
ride.
either way, it's a ride. You choose it
Yeah.
because you have free will.
You have free will, and we have each other to support on and to lean on. And we are each so unique also in our own experiences. And you'll see in the book, there's so many different perspectives. And that is the reason why, so that you can find the person or the path that you resonate with, or the ideas that you want to, that you feel, closer towards, that you can find something within there that represents you and how you feel and what you believe and your belief system. Because everyone's belief system is valid. We're not saying it must be like this or it must be like that, but we are open to everything. And you will find your space within that everything. And then you need to settle in and get comfortable in that, because you will have to be open to the other things being there as well without you having a judgment for it, whether it being right or wrong or good or bad or this or that, you know? So I am so excited for that process. I don't know how far along we're going to see and what we're going to experience, as humans, alive humans, but I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, we are middle of it right now because a lot of us are really shifting fast and we are seeing more. And I see that in my vision. I usually get drop ins when it is anchored in my soul mission, not for the collective, but how to navigate my own light path in order to be of service and to do my work. So I can see that. And I think that's essential that you said that, Amira, that you have to find your path in it, because it's very easy when you look at the spiritual realm in this human experience of people opening up and, oh, that looks interesting, that looks interesting. You can get caught up in a lot of energy. And if it doesn't resonate because it's interesting, it's exciting because it triggers some of that maybe fear, because we're trained to seek thrill, right? And fear, a lot of us are. And it is to keep us locked into those lower vibrations as well. Like I remember it's many years ago, I was working, and well, I was working as a spiritual coach, but I was doing more clairvoyant and mediumship at that time. And I had three girls from a high school wanting to come and speak to me, to interview me, for they had a project. I said, of course, yes, let's do that. And they came to my office and they sat down and they said, okay, so what can you tell us about Ouija boards and how that works, and seances and how that, and because a lot of people our age at school is doing it. And it was like, it was a divinely guided encounter with these three beautiful girls. And I got to speak on behalf of higher beings at that moment. Stars and them came very strong forward. And I spoke very directly on the vibration and what you're tuning into, what you're opening up, and you have no idea what you're dealing with. This is not to frighten people. I'm saying you should always stay in your lane. You should, meaning, what's my purpose for wanting to explore that? What is calling me? Is it sorrow, fear, excitement, all those lower vibrational energies? Or is it something that you're called to explore, to learn more about? It's two different things, because some of us is actually here to work on lower vibration, to help shift. I do that in my work. I have people with attachments. I clear attachments. That's part of what I do because I know how to navigate. I have that in my soul essence. I know how to navigate the lower realms. And that's also how I connected with Laura Fantine. That's how we became friends. So she assisted me. I had an imprint. This is an interesting story. I don't think I wrote about that in the chapter, and I would love just to share that real quick. It was in the beginning of me seeking my path, right? And going into the spiritual realm and start working with people and clients. And I was invited to the house of this lady who was doing some kind of healing work. I had no idea. I said, okay, I was going to buy some angelic essences from her. So I said yes. So I came to her house. I immediately got like kind of a bad feeling because, you know, you read energy. I could see there was a lot of motion and it was a different kind of energy vibe to the house. And so when I get into the house, everything is fine. And she's like, okay, so listen, I have a healer room right here. And I was like getting goosebumps. And she was like, would you like me to give you a free session so that you can experience it? And I was just curious, and I was actually afraid to say no. I didn't want to offend her, but everything in my being said, no, don't do it. My intuition went whoop, whoop, you know, red lights, run. But I was like, sure, let's do it. And I lay down. And as soon as I lay down and she started to do her process, I was like, what am I doing? And and I was just waiting for it to be over, to be honest. I was like, this is not my resonance. This is not my cup of tea, if you want to look at it that way. I didn't know too much about it. So I was like, okay, whatever, let's let this be done. And so when I was done, we went upstairs to get the angelic essences. And would stand there and she turned around. And then when she turned back towards me again, this huge reptilian being was placed on her left shoulder right behind her, and I saw it in full figure. So I was like shocked. I was like, and she goes, what? I said, do you know there's like this? And I didn't even know it was a reptilian because I didn't have the vocabulary. I was like, there's this being, this weird thing. And I started to explain it right next to you. It's hovering over you. And she was like kind of casual going, oh, you can see them. I was like, what the heck did I just do? And so what it turned out, many years, move to now when I started my podcast, and the order told me to do this. I started to get Laura Fontaine, a lot of other um, people, Tom Moore, for instance, on the show to talk about galactic. They would start coming on the show. So I was like, interesting. And Laura and I was going to do have our first session together, and we couldn't connect. We could not connect. And we were texting, and we're like, what's going on? I can't connect. I was like, no, I can't either. There's something really bad going on here. I feel it. It's like, so when we got on, she said, we didn't give up because we're two strong lights here. So we said, okay, we're going to win over there. So she did her clearing, I did my clearing, and we finally got on half an hour later. But we made it, and we spoke about it. And I said, we can't do this podcast before I get rid of whatever is triggered in my body. And so we started to work on it. And that's when I saw that healing that I did many, many, many years ago that my intuition said, don't do it, was three energetic bonds that was placed on my throat chakra for me not to speak my truth, to not have that power through the podcast and through what I do today. And I was stumbling and I couldn't get my word out and I couldn't understand why I couldn't express myself the way I knew I could. And so Laura helped me clear it. We cleared it together and gone, gone. But it actually went back to that moment. So why am I sharing that? Is because you should always trust your intuition because you know what resonates for you. Okay, so I said yes, but I got this lesson and I'm not questioning it. I think it's a good way for me to learn what I needed to learn how to discern and to do the work that I do today and to recognize it in other people. Unless you've experienced it yourself, it's very hard to get to recognize it in other people, what's going on.
Oh
So I thought
yeah.
that I just wanted to share that because that was a powerful one.
Oh, yeah. I had a very similar experience with Laura. She helped me clear a lot, and it was also related to reptilians. And it was funny because when I met Laura for the first time and I was telling her about the book project, The Beings, which was, it's almost a year ago now that that book came out. And, we were talking. And I knew that she was going to be part of the project because her name came up in, a lot of the QHHT sessions. So I knew that she had to be contacted, and we already spoke prior. But I felt different about her compared to everyone else. Like I knew she would have a different type of role in the book, and it wasn't about the book, but it didn't make sense to me because we were dealing with the book. And when things started to go a little bit weird and I couldn't understand what was happening, she was like, oh, this is what's going on. These are the things that are attaching. This is why they're doing it. This is what they're trying to do. They're trying to prevent you from doing this. And they're going to be working through some of the people who are already actually involved in the book to stop you and to, kind of like you said, like close your voice, and then when I started seeing the things happening, like I actually started seeing people who I thought I could trust doing weird things. And I was like, what on earth is going on? I couldn't believe that I was in the middle of all of this because prior to that, like I said, I didn't know any about this. I just saw unicorns and rainbows and glitter and everything was just so wonderful. I hadn't dealt with lower vibrational entities before that were even interested in me. Like, why me? What did I do? And it was so weird, but she helped me clear all of that up. She gave me the tools I need to stay empowered, to know what's going on, to hold my own fears in a way that I can understand them and deal with them and work with them. Like I said, she didn't introduce me to my guides, but I don't know what it was, but through working with her and the guided experiences we had together, I, for the first time, could clearly see and feel and experience them. So it was all so magically unfolding. And I still use some of the techniques she taught me back then. I still use them today, when I feel like, oh, something's a bit weird. Let me just, clean up a little bit, clean up the energy. I do it and it works. And it's difficult, like you say, to explain it to someone who hasn't experienced it because it just sounds like woo-woo crazy nonsense. But it is what it is. And if that's not your lane, stay away from it. Just
Hmm.
like the Ouija
So
board
true.
stuff, stay away from it. If you need it, and if the time is right, the right people will come and they will show you what to do. But don't go looking for things that are not, that are nothing to do with you. Don't go poking the bear. Just relax. Everything will happen exactly as it should. And I knew that. I knew that in that moment was a lesson I learned, that what I need will come at the time that is right. And Laura was there at the time that was right. And I didn't, it was so perfect. It was like she was so calm. She knew everything. She kept me calm. It was so perfect. And that's the point. You don't have to go looking for things and trying to figure things out. Allow it. Just allow it and be yourself, and
Mm.
just be the best version you can be. Work on your own self, work on your own triggers, work on your own fears, your own limiting beliefs. That's the best you can do. And in that process, things will unfold again in the way that is right for you and your path. Because you are an individual, it's going to look different to mine. And I cannot copy you because I'm not you.
Mhm. And I think that's the beauty, though, of the New Earth
Yeah,
creation, the foundation. We all hold that string of beautiful fabric of light that is resonating with your unique frequency, and that we're all weaving that into the creation, the foundation of what we want to co create in unity. It's only able to create that masterpiece when we all gift our uniqueness to it. Nothing is better than the other. It is the whole picture, it's the
yes.
wholeness. So that's what we need each other to be whole.
Mm,
We can't do it by ourselves because we are one. So, in the essence of it, we have to be respectful and loving and hold that vibration of unconditional love by practicing self love in order to activate that within, so that we have excessive energy of high frequency to give to other, to serve, and not deplete ourselves, and not try to work against the external forces. No, we don't even have to notice it. We choose. That's the story we've been told. Oh, you can't go around. My father actually told me this not too long ago. He said, well, you can't go around being happy all the time. That doesn't work. I was like, who told you that? Because in my world, I can go around being as happy as I want to. Nobody's
yeah.
telling me that today is a day to be sad or angry or not happy. I was like, no, that's the choice. I choose. So you see the generations here. I was like, no, I'm not falling for that anymore. No, I'm choosing this path. You go ahead. You go and sulk over in the corner. I'm going this way.
That is so funny because yesterday I was on a video call with my dad, and my daughter was playing in the background, and she had her little doll, and she was changing the diapers and feeding the doll, and she was doing things. And my dad said, oh, to be that age is so wonderful. You just have this wonderful imagination. And so my sister, who was also on the video call, we had like a whole family group chat, and she was like, okay, but you don't have to, your imagination has nothing to do with age. Like you can continue. And he's like, yeah, but when you were a kid, you don't, your reality, you don't know what reality is. And I'm like, no, they know. We don't know. You forgot what reality is. She knows. That's why she's playing. That's why she's having fun, because that's how she creates. That's why she's so happy. She knows that anything she wants will be there when she needs it. That's why she's
Yes.
allowing herself to just express freely. She's never stressed about, oh my goodness, when am I going to get something? No, she
No.
just asks for it.
So true. There's a lot of us that need to be more,
Childlike.
what should I say? Yeah, like we have to start asking for what we really want and not what
Yeah.
we think we want. Like check in with your heart and mind, make sure they're coherent because we need both in order to uphold that high frequency. So to create a foundation, we can't just bypass the brain. The brain has to expand with the
Yeah.
heart, but the heart is the one leading the path. It's the gateway. It's where we breathe, the heart breath.
Mhm.
So whatever we allow into our space, into our mind, let it come from the heart. And that's when you would see that the imagination and everything is possible because you can choose it, right?
Yes.
That's why I love watching children. They're so free.
Yeah.
They don't care if anybody's watching them. They don't care if they say the politically correct thing. They just say it. I'm like, yeah, I like that because it challenges us in what we think is political correct, right? What's societal right or wrong. And that's the duality that we're waking up to saying, no, we're tired of following the guidance of somebody out there telling us how to behave, how to act, what to do, and how to do it. No, I think I'll find out through my creative process what really nourishes me, that really lights me up, that gives me power, that gives me excessive energy, that actually makes me want to go out and serve
Yeah.
and to be happy and spread that love and joy out into the world. That's what we need. But no, many countries put their children in school, and now you have to
Mm.
wear all the same clothes and you all have to do the same thing and you have to learn it only this way. Otherwise, you're not fitting in the box.
Yeah.
We're giving you up.
Yeah.
And it's so sad to see, but we have to start awakening to that within our grown self so that we can be the channels, the bridge builders for the children who's already there. But they don't understand why we are pulling them down and holding them back. They're like,
Yes.
come play with me, mommy. Come,
Yeah.
let's have some fun. Let's, have some superpowers and just play.
Yeah.
We should get back to that
Yeah,
in
we
a
should.
more, yeah. We should play more. Ameera, we need
We
to play
should.
more.
We should play more.
Yes.
I love
Yes.
playing. I think we should. And,
Yeah.
that's just life. You learn and then you fall off the horse and you get back on and you realize, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I'm going to do things differently." And not beating ourselves up about it?
Mm.
So I'm super
Imagine
excited for
that
this
time.
book.
Yeah, me too. I just one final thing. Imagine that time when we go home, Amira, because this is all divine. We've chosen this. This was already. It's in the records. We knew we were going to do this. We chose to step in, and we're choosing to do this now. We're connected, but we're going to journey home one day, and we're going to look back at this, and we're going to look at what we did, and our conversation, and what that effect of us coming together, and the ripples of that. We get to see both. We get to see the what we've created and in love and harmony. We also get to see what we might need to work on, the karmic
Mm.
part of this journey. And then again, it's just motion of how we show up. It's the way we express ourselves. So if we can just let go, and be free at heart and mind, just say, what resonates with me today?
Mm.
What can I bring out into the world? And I think that is what this book is gifting. I use it, my other book that I wrote, The Awaken to the Power of the Universe, I still use that as a bibliomancy. So if I don't want to channel and I just want to have a message, I open up and I read what is coming to me. The same thing with this book. Use it. It's a tool because you will always get what you need and it will give you the clarity. If you read in between the lines, it's not always the words. Words have power, but it's because of the energy it was written in and it's activations within the words that's
Yes.
been specifically chosen in this book. And you, as you started this, you opened and you gave the spark of that. You said, okay, I want to create something that is divinely guided
Mm.
so that when people read it can have activation and remembrance and
Yes.
open themselves up. So it is a tool. It's not just a book that you read and put away.
Yeah.
It's a book that you use
Yeah.
on your own journey.
It's a guide. It's a guide.
It's
And
a
that's
guide.
literally in the subtitle, a guide for humanity in the age of awakening. And you will see through the entire book and through all of the chapters, a lot of it is channeled on many different levels. So, the amount of guidance coming in and the different types of guidance coming in and all the different the variance of vibration and how it all works together to give you what you need. Like you say, you can open it anywhere and you'll find what you need because that's how divine guidance works. You're not supposed to question it, you're just supposed to understand it and use it and apply it for your situation. And it we can read the same thing, but the applications will be different for me and for you. And that's what's so perfect about it, So there's
Yeah, and
no
it's
other way.
timeless. I
Yeah,
just want to say it's timeless. So whether you read it now and you put it away and you bring it back a year or two or three, even seven,
yeah,
because I channeled my book from 7 years ago or more. And when we open it and people open it, there's still people who's read it many times. They say, well, I didn't see that before. It's because
yes,
you've risen. You see,
yeah.
you're expanding, and now you're understanding more and more. There's always something when it's channeled, a higher frequency, and you can only read what is resonating with you at the moment. So the more you expand your awareness, the more experiences you have and the remembrance that is being activated, the
Mhm.
more you're getting.
Oh,
And
yeah,
that's when the activation starts to happen as well, like spontaneous light language. It can happen.
yeah,
Happened for me. So why
yeah.
not for somebody
And
else?
channeled information, like it never expires, if I can use that word. Like I don't know what the right word is, but I found this book at the library when I was helping them with their book sale a while ago. This book is 115 years old, and it had some channeled information in it. Uh, when I was reading through it, I was like, this sounds like it could be relevant for today. It sounds like a channeled message I could listen to on YouTube that was recorded within the last week or so. It was so relevant and it was so on point. And it's like that's how this book is going to be. Like you say, you can open it in 10 years from now, you're still going to get exactly what you need because the information is timeless and it can be applied in so many different ways. So I'm so excited for this book. I'm so grateful that you took the time to speak to me today about it. I'm so excited to speak to all the other authors about their chapters and what they've written and how that's coming together. So I look forward to that. And I'll put all the relevant links in the description, the pre-order for the book and all that. And I'll put your links as well where people can get a hold of you, contact you, and work with you. So again, thank you. I appreciate you. I hope you have
Thank
a
you.
wonderful, wonderful day.
You too. Thank you so much, Amira. And
You're welcome.
much, much love and light to everyone watching this and
Yeah,
everyone reading the book. May it bring you lots of blessings and an open mind and heart for what's to come.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.